It's on you.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with the crew, PD and Cal. Say what's rapping, guys.
What up?
Hey, how's everybody doing? We're ready to rock.
Hey, we are ready to rock. And today we're going to be talking about episode number 3 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Man, I'm telling you, it was like one of the best episodes ever seen that we can even believe. It's just absolutely great. All I got to say is like, push it up, baby, push it up. Let me give you a quick, brief synopsis of what we saw, and we'll bring it on with the team. This episode begins basically with them helping Zemo get out. It's a very intricate reason how it happens, and kind of missed part of it myself. But after reviewing it again, I see what went on. Zemo gets out. Why would they have Zemo get out? But they get Zemo out, and basically it's a buddy movie from them going over to Madripoor. Am I saying that right, guys? Madripoor?
I go with Madripoor.
Madripoor.
Madripoor is the correct pronunciation. Madripoor.
Which seems to be different from what's in the comics. But hey, we're moving on, right? They're going there looking for the person who supposedly has been working on the serum. Who Zemo, while in prison, figured out who the hell it is. So they go out there and they bump into an old friend, Sharon Carter, who basically was left out in the cold after the government gave the heroes a pass. So she's out there doing her own thing, trying to survive out in the cold. And they find out the scientist actually made 20 vials of this stuff, And Carly from the Flag Smashers, before they took it from him or took it from the power broker, they took off with it, and of course they used some of it. But there's still additional vials out there that no one has used so far. So the question is, what are they doing? What's going on? And lastly, who the hell is the power broker? Who's the one running the stuff in Madripoor? Who's the one who's going after Carly from the Flag Smashers? Who's the one who is just orchestrating this whole thing to have these super soldier served? So those are questions we have to do. On top of that, at the very end, who shows up? Wakanda has their agent in tow, baby. And they're looking for who? Retribution from Zemo. So, guys, there's a lot to talk about. So let's start off from the top. What do you guys think about that whole Zemo escaping? Is it even interesting? Is it something that should have been in the story? I'm going to pass this on to PD. What's rocking, baby? Tell me what you think.
I guess we can go back to Zemo. I think, what's the name? All of the heroes are dead in the water. We have Falcon and Winter Soldier. They have only one lead. They run out of options. So they have to go to Zemo. And also, John Walker and Hopkins, they're kind of dead in the water too. So it's kind of convenient that they get Zemo out, and Zemo fuels the rest of their plot as they go along. It's just like, oh, he got all the money. They're in his planes. They don't worry about being set up. Zemo's walking around like he's freaking Bruce Wayne or something like that. Everything hooked up for him, and then they try to play this cool angle to him where he's like the man about town. It was interesting that the Winter Soldier was going back to his old ways and sort of being operative of Zemo, but it's kind of playing. Is this going to be a part of what's going to happen to Winter Soldier or not? But then what else? So John Walker, which is a character, one of the things right now is that there's so many characters that kind of pulling us away from the plots that we want to see. So I want to see a little more John Walker and his stuff because he's the next Captain America. And I thought, oh, we gotta do something. Oh, we're gonna go to John Walker. No, we're gonna go to Zemo. Like, no, don't sideline with the villain. Don't work with this guy because it's gonna turn on you. He's like, no, but Hollywood loves this, the Scorpion and the Frog story. So we're going to get a little of that, but they held on it a little long. You were saying the Agent 13 was surviving. Agent 13 is thriving. He got the real, not the stuff they show in exhibits. She's got all the real art with her. She's got money going on. Like this is crazy. So it was fun. I didn't kind of like that they were kind of pushing her. They're pushing Falcon to be the next Captain America, and why not? Let's have Sharon say something about Sam Wilson while he got no shirt on. It's like, let's kind of hook this. Let's say we're pushing these two together, and Winter Soldier can either get the Dora Milaje girl or go back to the sushi bar and hang with that girl. But they kind of moved away from the the bromance to kind of have some other girl. But no, they had the bromance with Zemo now. But the whole banter with Zemo is an insane guy, and they weren't really watching over him like I wanted to. They were leaving with Zemo behind them while they would go in the front and the things, and when they went in those tankers. And I'm also struggling with the Flag Smashers and giving them so much story and so much heartfelt moments, even though they killed all of those workers of the, the replacement thing, that those people, they killed those guys. This moments of the mother being sick and all this other stuff is all trying to pull on our heartstrings for these characters when, I see them as the villains. I don't care how much you put on the side of the levels, because then who's the bad guy in this story? Zemo has this thing where he's still out against heroes, but of course he might have snuck a vial of the super soldier serum when they weren't watching them again. So he destroys all the stuff. So he might have kept one or two of those vials so he can use it for himself or someone else. But then at the same time, he doesn't need Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's like, he put on a mask and he became tougher than all of them. He takes out all of the people that are attacking them. So ultimately, I wish they would have more episodes so they can spend a little more time with characterization instead of adding new characters. Now, the Dora Milaje, that actress, when I saw her in what's that thing in Civil War?
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We're just working on the Zemo stuff.
You said her, so I'm bringing her up. What are you going to want me to wait? All I got to say is I wanted her in the Black Panther, and she was in it, but she had a very big part. Her time was taken by, was it Denai and by Lupita, two actresses I love. But that one that was in Civil War, I've been waiting for her to do her stuff, and they took it away from me. So I'm on the fence. I'm indifferent because I'm saying it's too many characters, but it's a Dora Milaje, one of the wives that I wanted to see on screen. And of course, I was totally blinded by Denai and Lupita. So I was like, I kind of accepted it, but it's like, no, we got her back. But now there's just too many characters. I need more Sharon. I don't get that Zemo out of here, bro. That's all I got for now. Uh-oh.
Yeah, what about you, Kyle?
Oh man, no, that was great. That was a great line,
Right,
Pete. That was a great line, Pete. You've been waiting for it. That was a great line. I'm gonna leave it alone for the most part. No, I mean, overall, Winter Soldier's been a lot more. It's tough because PD makes a lot of great criticisms over the day, because as much as I'm enjoying it, it's only 6 episodes. So we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time to waste. So as much as I may enjoy the whole, okay, we get an appearance of one of the Dora Milaje. We Baron Zemo over here. We got a lot of good moments. These guys just act and play very well off each other, so it's a lot of fun. But we only have so much room before this train is going to stop, and we are certain things in the story that you're hoping to see be completed. We have some fruition to some of the stuff that we see there. I definitely would like to see more Isaiah Bradley. I don't know if that's going to happen in this series. I did want to see more about his backstory, or at least a flashback, something of that nature. I don't know if that's going to happen in this series. We're given a lot of Carly Morgenthau for her to just be Carly Morgenthau, and I have my own suspicions as to how that's going to go. And even when we get Sharon Carter, to be quite honest, as much as it's nice to see Sharon Carter again, and it works well, it's still taking away from the bigger part of the story. It's like, look, we need to find out about this super soldier serum. We got to lock this stuff down. We don't even know what this whole situation is with Bucky and the older Japanese dude over here in the book. There's a lot of stuff over here that has to be tied up by the end of episode 6, or it's not going to be tied up by the end of episode 6, in which I'm going to be unhappy because we don't know where that's going to happen at the end of the day. And these series aren't connected, meaning the stuff that we see going on in WandaVision isn't taken up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And so we know the stuff here isn't going to be taken up in anything coming down the pike with Loki or Hawkeye or Secret Invasion for that matter. Aside of that, it's just been very entertaining to watch. Like I said, these guys play very well off of each other. Sam and Bucky doing the whole Tango and Cash thing, play very well off each other. You throw Sharon Carter in there again, they're like old hands at this. They all know each other. It's the dialogue is for me has been pretty spot on. The action sequences very well executed, and there's no way you can't say that, hey, you want to see where this is going, you want to see more of it. It's been such a palate cleanser after like wasting 4 hours of my life with that other nonsense. However, the biggest thing is, can you tie up the major parts of this story? Okay, can you tie up the major parts of this story by the end of this series? And one of the major parts of this story is that Sam gave away that shield. Okay, that has to be resolved by the end of this series. If that's not resolved, then yes, okay, something that'll definitely lower this a grade or two in my estimation. Otherwise, it's just a fun ride. It's hard not to enjoy it.
Well, thank you very much, Sharon. Now, in terms of Zemo, what I was trying to get at, and I was hoping to focus on Zemo and then go on from there.
Okay.
The Zemo Escape, I thought was very interesting, in that that I didn't get the fact that when Bucky's trying to explain it to Falcon, like what happened and how Zemo is going to get out, basically, what happened, basically. It seems that he helped to initiate that whole series of moves, right?
Yep.
So, Pete, explain how you saw that happening.
He told them, he gave the sheet of paper saying that this guy, the black guy, was going to, do something to him. So the white dude attacked.
Kill him.
Yeah. So the next thing, the white dude attacks, and I felt it was wrong that he had him kicking the brother's head in and whatnot. Just not. Oh, sorry, I'm off track. So then that's the thing. They showed that Zemo had the card. So obviously in the melee, it was set up and that's why obviously Falcon was so upset by what was going on, because he's like, no, you can't let him out. We can't let that happen. And of course, everything that they hypothesized was what happened. So
exactly what happened. And so you think that they had that set up from the beginning, or it was just
yes. Winter Soldier was planned to do it. That was his plan to free him.
Okay. You feel the same way, Cal?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And now in terms of we come out, he gets out, and then all of a sudden, he is wealthy. I mean, is this something that we knew before as well? I know he is a baron, and he says he was part of Sokovia's I guess royalty or nobility, and so he had a lot of money left over. But yet, it amazes me that he was still so well off. He had a whole servant, he had planes, he had cars, and no one ever confiscated any of that stuff in the interim. Did that surprise you guys?
They needed it because of the plot. The plot needs to move on. Nobody had no money. What's the name? Walker and Battlestar, the American government is not getting off their behinds to help them, because they're way behind the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So they needed to get all the places, everything set up, their disguises or what they were playing when they went to Madripoor. All that stuff is set up by Zemo, so you don't get a plot. The plot doesn't move forward without him, and that's the hard part for me in any sort of story where they have a character sort of fits everything that they need, and what does he get out of it? So that's the thing. So it's like, what is Zemo going to get out of it? Because you got to pay for all that stuff. They're just sitting in the plane, not really thinking about it. Like, if you do something, Zemo, I'm going to get you. Then he does something and they can't do nothing. All right, let's get in the car. Let's go. And then you're fighting over the black guy in the back seat. I don't know if the black guy in the back seat is a thing, but it's still sort of a funny bit. So I just think of him being the benefactor, and that's why you'd have Sharon be the benefactor since she's already out there. Then you could get that, but they want to get the villain in so we can reveal that the true bad guy is Zemo, and either Zemo take that or a couple of people. We don't know how many people will now get the super soldier serum. If Zemo gets it, but he seems to be pretty, he's able to handle himself a little better than our heroes in that fight. And but then you have John Walker, who had power in the comic books, and then you've seen in the trailer of Sam Wilson throwing the shield and it going through a tree. So there's a hint that maybe he gets some powers, but that would go into the Mark Runwall thing where it connects to the power broker giving all these powers, people power. So.
What's your thought about that whole Zemo stuff, Cal?
Well, Zemo's just set up for Thunderbolts. You're familiar with the Thunderbolt? You're familiar with the Thunderbolts?
Yeah, elaborate so the people who are not familiar will know what to talk about.
Right. So Thunderbolts was a storyline that happened sprung out of the Incredible Hulk comics, and it's this new super team, and the Hulk meets them, and he's like, you guys are familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. So these guys, are doing superheroics, and they're the newest team on the block, and then it turns out that they're all supervillains in disguise, and that their leader, Citizen V, is actually Baron Zemo. So if you want to do the Thunderbolts, you got to get Baron Zemo there. And they may have had this as a long-term idea, hence why Baron Zemo didn't bite the dust in Captain America Civil War. So a lot of this is, a lot of this is just kind of set up for that. You got Zemo putting on the mask, and it means absolutely nothing. We have no idea why the hell he's putting this mask on. He's just doing it. That's more fangasm at the end of the day. But that's more setup. And Zemo's also going through a bit of sanitizing right now, because he did, like they said, he did all that stuff. He killed King T'Chaka. He killed people, inside of that building. He's responsible for a lot of deaths, and he belongs in prison, but we want to use him, so we got to be able to break him out of prison, one, so we can get him back into the field, and then all that stuff has to become water under the bridge so we can get him going. And this is the same stuff they did with Bucky. It's the same stuff they're probably going to do with Carly Morgenthau. So that's a lot of setup towards other stuff that's going to be coming down the pike.
Can a villain be redeemed? It seems Marvel is forever redeeming their villains. Is there a point where?
Got to disagree with you there.
Is there a point where a villain can't be redeemed, Petey?
Hold on, let me jump in here. Let me
just say one. I know what I would want to say. One of the things, the quick thing I want to say is that there's a difference between Hawkeye, who's working as doing semi-criminal stuff, is how much you do, and actually paying for your crimes. Because that's what Hank Pym in the comics, as bad as the story was, he literally went to jail. Like, this is what doesn't happen with Magneto, with Rogue. They don't pay for their crimes of killing people. And that's where you say you can redeem someone, but they need to do the time. That's what I want to get in. So I'm passing off to Cal now.
Yeah, Marvel doesn't redeem their villains. They kill them off. These guys are killed off. Every good villain that we've seen, for the most part, with the exception of Loki, is dead. They killed off the Red Skull. And to be quite honest, that's what we should be seeing right now, the Red Skull. Red Skull gets killed off. Hela gets killed off. Malika gets killed off. Curse gets killed off. All the major villains get killed off. And now there's a difference, I think, between a villain and an antagonist. You have some antagonists that have survived, and that's been Bucky as the Winter Soldier and Zemo. But the villains, the guys who are just flat out, we're just evil, that sort of thing. No, those guys are gone. Marvel takes those dudes out. That's why Agatha Harkness is still there, because she's more of an antagonist than a villain. But if you're a villain, they do classic Disney stuff. They drop you over the side of a building and you fall, forever. Nobody ever sees you again.
So what do you consider the difference between an antagonist and a villain? Elaborate.
The antagonist is alive, the villain's dead.
In terms of an antagonist, like, let's say Agatha Harkness, she wants to take over, right? And so, is that considered, and she doesn't care who gets hurt, does that not consider someone as a villain? If you're willing to hurt people to get where you want to go?
That's like a deeper dive into literature. And to be quite honest, it's either you have an appetite and a mind for that stuff, or you don't. Because then it can become very haughty talking to people about that. I'm almost sounding holier than thou when it comes to understanding stories. But literature for the most part is based on certain archetypes. There's 5 different archetypes that were established. One of them is that villain archetype, and this is usually the person who is beset against the hero, but a villain has a certain structure to them. Now, an antagonist can be another hero in the same story. That's the protagonist, antagonist, just the person who's going against the protagonist, that sort of thing. And it could be another hero. Okay, it doesn't make that hero a villain. If we have, Captain America Civil War, you've got the protagonist and you have the antagonist, and they're all heroes. They're all heroes at the end of the day. Now, the villain we say, especially the classic villain, this is somebody who's trying to keep the hero from achieving whatever their goal is. And this person is willing to do anything, anything possible to keep that from going on. They have no moral compass. Okay. For the most part, they're irredeemable at the end of the day. But that's a longer discussion. That becomes a longer discussion. But most of the people, and again, it's how they're handled, because Zemo in that film, okay, Zemo in that film, I would say was more of a villain than an antagonist. But then you see him here, and he's been softened and sanitized. Oh, he's kind of misunderstood here. He's kind of misunderstood. We get him back on the road. You do a few good deeds, and it'll all be water under the bridge. The hot chick, Dora Milaje comes up. I'm certain she'll fight with Bucky. Bucky will make the same argument as to how he did all of these bad things when he was under the influence of the Russians, and they'll probably give him some rope, because again, there's some great storylines that you can use with Baron Zemo. So, we want to keep those things in mind. But
there's a difference.
There's some nuance when it comes to it.
But there's a huge difference with Bucky. When he was drugged and he was under the influence, and so you can say that. You can't say the same thing for Baron Zemo. Zemo,
you don't get to in literature, you don't get to make that distinction.
We're making a distinction character here. So the character we're talking about is Zemo. Can there be redemption here? And it seems as though they were trying to do it, but then he reverts back to form. Just as Petey was saying, the scorpion and the frog, they went along with him, and in the very end, he kills the scientist, right? He's not going to become a hero or be a good guy. He's still going to do that stuff, but he'll do it against people we don't like, and that'll make it acceptable. So he's not going to come over here. I'm not going to blow up any more stuff with good people or that type of stuff. Everything will be against evil people. It's like the Punisher. The Punisher is, a lot of people would go at him as an anti-hero, but the Punisher is like a straight up villain, kills people, just goes on killing. Why do we accept it? Because he kills criminals. Kills bad people. He doesn't kill good people. He's the avenging angel. And that's why.
Yeah. Like, what was that there was some Mel Gibson film. I can't remember it.
I thought you were talking about Payback.
That might be it, Payback. And Lucy Liu was in the film. Everybody in that film is a bad guy. Everybody is in the film is a bad guy. But we root for Mel Gibson because, he in that film right on. He's not a hero or anything of that nature, okay? But he's the protagonist. And because the way it's set up, we want to see him achieve his particular goal. He's the most likable bad guy in a movie filled with bad guys at the end of the day. And that's how it works. He's not a good guy. He's not a hero or anything. If you met him, you'd be terrified of this type of guy. But in that setting, in that film, it works because he's doing all that stuff to other bad people. And that'll be the same thing with Baron Zemo.
And that would be like Clint Eastwood, in some of the roles that he played, basically.
Which one?
The Lone Stranger comes into town, the good, the bad, the ugly.
But he's the good guy. He's the good.
I mean, not good. I meant the, what's the name of that movie? The one where he comes into the town, he has to clean up the town on his own.
Well, if he's cleaning up the town, I think he's the good guy.
We don't know what he is. He just comes in. We don't know his backstory. He could be someone bad, but he's just taking an opportunity where he's like, let me knock this out and work both angles. He's getting hired by one group, and then he's getting hired by the other group because they see he's a gunman. But he has his own moral compass here and there. But hey, let's move on to Sharon Carter. What do you guys think about that? I mean, she shows up pretty dramatically in the episode. A lot of mysterious things happen. What's your take on that, Petey?
As I said, I just don't think there's enough of her in here. She's
yes,
a big fan of her. A big fan of the actress and her performance in Winter Soldier and the bits she's in Civil War. But in sort of a lost thing. Now, I will say this draws on the Mark Waid, Sharon Carter, but not that much. Like to be direct. sorry, Mars. She was kind of a uber bitch in the comic book in his classic run, and I didn't really like that for her character. Everything else I liked. That would be the only thing I like less. But the fact that she still subconsciously and actually had feelings for Steve, even though she was mad at him. It was kind of an easy plot to go. So they kind of going in the middle where she has this edge. And ultimately, I need to pass it back to Mars. All I can say is very glowing things about her. What was your assessment? What are you thinking this is going to go? Because you said something to me about this. Where did you think this was gonna go, Mars, with her character?
First of all, I don't remember saying anything to you about anything. So
You
I don't
never,
know.
you
No,
never said anything to me about anything ever.
not about that. I'm not talking to you
You
about
don't
that.
remember talking about wait when she gets into the car with her, the female,
Mhm.
and what you were thinking, who you thought Sharon Carter is, or you do not want to share? Well, if you don't want to share, I can go back. All right, but she basically said,
If
No, no,
now,
what? No, wait. What did he say? What did he say?
yeah, what did I say, Petey?
you said that we don't know, we've never seen, as you said earlier, we haven't seen the power broker. Could Sharon Carter be the power broker? Could she have put this guy to work? That she's in these towns, she knows these things. Could she be the bad person? It'd be kind of too much of a stretch.
Well, we know there's something going on with her after she makes that phone call, and she's like, "Yeah, we got a problem."
We know that she's well connected. She's doing extremely well while she's in my Madripoor, and what's going on there. So, Petey, I'm putting this back on you. What do you think? Do you think she could be the power broker?
The hard part is that it mean like Zemo would have to be it because she hasn't been in there enough for it to be her. She could be it, but it'd be kind of a waste of a character to just make her a bad guy now. I mean, it'd be interesting possibly, but then where do we see her next? We see her some years down the line in Phase 5. So ultimately, I'm not going to go where I would go for an more interesting story. Zemo seems like the guy. Zemo has this the money and has all this stuff and have good reason to kill this person. So I don't think Sharon is that. I think we had to, just like WandaVision, everyone was expecting bigger, longer, more inventive plots. And like I can't say Sharon because that would just be sort of a twist that we'd be think is cool when all the lines and all the money, even though she has a lot of money, she has all that old art, all the classic art. But the worst would be could she be in cahoots with Zemo? She was a little too easy on this, this partnership with it. Obviously, the Dormologists go into our idea of, this is not cool, and someone's going out there to take him out or bring him back to jail. Who knows what? But yeah, I think
she's going to kill him.
but I mean, she should have went to. They should have went to the. Well, I mean, that would be, I guess, an act. Now she's on, not on American soil, so it makes sense that she wouldn't try to kill him on American soil. So, yeah, I mean, I just if we get more of her and she becomes that, I'd be fine. I just don't think it's the way they'd go.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I think it possibly could be Sharon Carter, but it's just they're leading us down a road, and a pretty obvious wide road, saying, hey, she's connected, she's here at Madripoor, she's resentful about Hero, she's resentful about how the U.S. government treated her and stuff like that. Those are all obvious, The reason though is if she has a scientist Nagel, and this is the same thing with Zemo. Why I'm not sure how this is working out. If she has this agent, I think it's Nagel, right? The guy who redid the super serum using Isaiah's blood to get another super serum mix out of it. You got the scientist, then why let him get killed? Why kill him? You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, the value that he has, the knowledge that he has, you can make more super soldiers. Of course, it's convenient that he dies because whatever the amount he made 20 vials, right? And Carly and the Flag Smashers took what, 8? So that remains 12 remaining vials. So what are you going to do with that? So who's going to take those remaining vials?
Well, let's see. John Walker and Lamar Hoskins. That's going to be 2. Okay, so that leaves you with what?
Sam Wilson.
With what, 10?
Don't forget Sam Wilson. He's got to get some power.
No, I wouldn't want that. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get a few people who are going to get the vials, and then the rest of them are going to be destroyed.
But they're going to need some vials for Weapon X, right? Aren't they going to need that?
Why do they need vials for Weapon X?
Stop.
Well, you may think not, but they keep talking about putting on that whole Weapon X, the whole.
Oh no, we're not going down that rabbit hole. No.
Oh my God.
Weapon Plus. You've been trying to have them actually show. There was a Weapon Plus program that started this all across the world. Everyone worked together to have their own super soldier.
I don't think everybody worked together. I think everybody worked, and it just worked out. They knew where it came from, the U.S. and Erskine and all those guys. But hey, I mean, the key thing coming back to Power Broker is the fact that this person clearly is really involved with Carly. So right now at this stage, I just don't have enough information to say 100% clearly. It looks like it could be Sharon Carter, but I think doesn't that do like a 180 on her character, on what she was doing? And number two is again the Nagel thing. Why get rid of such an important guy? Then we have Zemo. Why is Zemo? Um, Again, he comes in and he doesn't want. Supposedly, in the way he's set up here, he doesn't want superheroes or super soldiers or whatever. And if he's the power broker, and he had this guy creating stuff. It kind of seems, a little nuts that he then ends up killing his own guy. I, I don't know, but then bad guys do that. I mean, he was ahead of what the Masters of Evil, I believe it was.
Yes.
So I think he's not redeemable. Cal, I just want to just throw that in there. He's not redeemable. He's 100.
He's Baron Zemo, of course not.
I just want to make sure he's no antagonist. That I don't think there's no way he should be allowed to continue to breathe.
No, he's not redeemable, but you can sanitize him.
Okay. So hey, let's go on to the next issue. The next
Well, I want to last on Zemo say in the comic books, it's not till way later where they decide that this new Zemo, because it's the second Zemo,
right,
has a bunch of them.
But I'm saying no, this is father.
There's been two.
Yeah, this
I think that has like the father, the grandfather, or something like that.
No, this just the real Zemo that we saw in the Kirby comic books, in Stanley and Kirby comic books, and the one who's the son who gets the same sort of mess on his face, and he becomes Zemo. The problem being is that Zemo didn't have no fighting skills. He was just a criminal mastermind. So he was that smart that he could stop. Well, I mean, he wasn't that smart. He just attacked the Avengers and beat their strongest member. Like they beat the hell. Well, no, Hercules was drunk, and he was on a drunken binge when the Masters of Evil caught him, and they have killed him. And at that point, they were in the mansion, and they were able to take out the Avengers. But the whole point of him being this sort of master planner, he wasn't really on Cap's level as far as fighting at all. He was just someone who was just mad because Cap Zemo was dead, and that was his father. And so that was the revenge aspect to it, which is a basic superhero comic thing. So this thing of Zemo being, because you gotta be this great fighter and smart, and he's obviously relentless and able to kill people, as many people as possible, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to add that bit in.
You want to say anything about that, Cal?
No, Petey got it.
All right, cool. So we're moving on to the big reveal well, let's finish off with the Flag Smashers. The Flag Smashers, you have Carly who's the leader of the Flag Smashers, and then she goes on and they try to get some food for some more of these refugees. I want to really delve into that GRC thing. What is that? The GRC is the recovery people. What are they called again? People who
give me a break. Give me a break with all this trying to push us to feel that they're good guys that take extreme means. They're trash. They're terrorists, and I don't care how much they put in front of me to make them nice guys. I'm not going to buy into it.
Well,
That last episode we saw should cement the fact that these are not good guys. They blew up that building with people in it.
Yes, and I think you're 100% correct. But they're still trying to be very sympathetic with her, and of course, the way you were just explaining her, that she's an antagonist as opposed to a villain. And I think that's where my problem is, that if you are killing people, even evil people to a degree, you're not all that good yourself,
But she killed like security guards. These are innocent people at the end of the day. But the theme that they're gonna, again, I have I'm on the line that this character, because she's getting a lot of light. Okay, she's getting a lot of light. So I don't expect her story just to end with these 6 episodes. There's something else going on here. But again, I'm not going to speculate too much on it. I already gave my thoughts on it before. But this will be the same thing. If you now, Bucky's in a position where, okay, he did all of this stuff, and then he got a pardon. He's able to go on he's able to go live a life, try to make amends, that sort of stuff. Doing all the 12-step program. So now you bring in these other characters who are pretty much in the same boat. What can he say other than, well, let's give it a shot?
Yeah, I don't know about if they come to the end of this and she's a part of the Team America. I would be really upset.
With the Marauder, they're gonna be on motorcycles now?
Close enough. Yeah, like having these characters and that her be a part of this now to say, I'm on the side of the angels. He said, well, those guys I killed, they were kind of bad guys, so or they were working for bad guys. They didn't step up and fight for any good cause, so it was okay I killed them. No, they're gonna make us forget about it and show her with the mother and like I brought my mother to the hospital and they're giving her chemo and she's alive now. And like, oh, that's why. And they're like, oh, they just killed your cat. That's why you're so mad. It's all right.
You see here, I think the focus is really what is the global reparations council, right? These are the people who, after the blip, the key thing is this is the world with the blip, all right? And the people with the world, these guys are bringing people back. And what they said in the episode was pretty interesting. And they're trying to get people back to where they were before, which is kind of counterintuitive a little bit because things have moved on. Countries, like they said, countries have changed, things have happened. So let's say, for example, you were a rich person, or let's say you were a politician at one particular time. Do they let you go back to that role? Or is it like, well, hey, dude, time has moved on. This is what this Flag Smashers are saying. Hey, the world was better the way it was, I mean, what are they saying here in terms of the Global Reparation Council? They're attacking it, saying that they're holding resources for people that they should be sending out. Are they villains? Or are they not villains? Is this
what do they want to happen to the people that have been brought back? They want them to just be poor and not do anything, or just get no help? Or they're saying that the reparations are actually keeping these people underfoot? It's like the messages that they're trying to send aren't clear, and they're not saying what's the roadmap. Is that the aid is terrible? Did they like the world when it was less people? Are they freeing people that are sort of refugees, or they're against how life is now, like the steps they're taking? And it's hard for me because I feel it's kind of what it would be like a Death Star syndrome, where it's stuff that we've seen in the Marvel
Death Star
movies.
syndrome?
Yeah, we keep seeing the Death Star at every movie we see. We keep seeing the Super Soldier Serum. We've seen it since the Incredible Hulk movie. They've had to say, "Oh, we have it. We actually have." Remember that they had it back then, so that could have been one of the vials. They had it for the Abomination, right? So, and I guess did they try to say that was the Hulk too? Try to go for the whole Ultimates angle? I can't remember, but you had it there. You have the Civil War. They finally forgotten, but now we have the blip that is totally like the Death Star, where we keep having to see some sort of element of Thanos' snap in every sort of story. And it's like, oh, we're gonna go into the next Marvel thing and hear something about the blip. I can't take it anymore. It's too much. And most of the time, even that's the thing, even the death of Gwen Stacy or the Phoenix, at some point you need to see less references to these things, no matter how important they are, so people can kind of move on. And you can bring it back from time to time, but the whole plot line still being about the blip and that sort of thing is just sort of self-serving, saying there's only one story and saying this one story just threads through the entire thing. And it's only that Stan Lee bit of saying, they might say, oh, said, thankfully after the blip, I did this. Like a good thing I learned, karate from Captain America. That's sort of those Stan Lee moments that would kind of tell you, oh, good thing I learned from the last time we fought, that sort of thing. It's like, I don't think this storyline is very clear for these Flag Smashers, trying to make them these sort of, I guess, these sort of freedom fighters. That's what they're trying to play them. And we're not seeing a clear villain. And I think that's what kind of Marvel has done. I think Callis said it before about them being sort of the heroes fighting the heroes rather than having a clear villain, that sort of thing. So, and you can have a villain with layers, but it's like these guys are terrorists. They go too much to me and it's not clear that they're just, what the ramifications of what they're trying to do. Are they upset with how they're helping people, or are they upset that these guys are back and they're taking resources from other people?
It's neither. They're just there.
So what do you think about What do you think about that, Cal?
They're just there. They're not compelling. They're not very compelling at the end of the day. It's just some, these are like these are lightweight plot devices in terms of the Flag Snatcher, and it's just set up for other stuff to go there. So I just don't have a lot of opinion on them. They're gonna suit their purpose. A whole bunch of them are gonna end up dying, so that'll take care of a bunch of it. And our focus is supposed to be on that girl. That's where our focus is supposed to be. We're not supposed to fall for the distractions. Okay, this is like old magician's trick. Get them looking somewhere else, and then we'll be surprised when we see that going. Nope, keep your focus right there. Okay, and you'll be okay. But we've only got 6 episodes, and while they're doing a great job of making some very entertaining television, we've only got 6 episodes. Let's hit all of the, let's hit all of the notes that we're supposed to hit. Okay, and then the coda, they can worry about that later.
Hey, look, I gotta kind of disagree with PD on this whole thing with the GRC, and I think I understand your thing with the voices, but I think this is what happens when you decide not to reset the universe after an epic issue as the Infinity Wars and the Endgame. In other comics they reset everything, right? And that's what happens. Everything goes back to what was going on before. But here they decide to do the opposite. There's going to be consequences because they let the blip happen for 5 years and then brought everybody back. So we started seeing the consequences trickle through Spider-Man. We're seeing it now with WandaVision, and now we're seeing it here with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? And so if you can't say, well, this device is just, you can't say, well, we're tired of watching this whole thing. There's a consequence to this as to why what's going on. And if you're going to allow them to make this end game point where they don't go back, they reset, then this is going to be the new universe. This is the new, I don't want to say dystopian universe, but this is the universe that we're dealing with now. And so this is going to be front and center continuously, and they're making the GRC, which to me, possibly a new villain, a new worldwide villain, or a new organization that's going to have extra power and political power that military power that they don't currently have, and we don't know who's running it. What is the end game on that? And they're giving us breadcrumbs naturally, just like they gave us breadcrumbs in WandaVision. They give us breadcrumbs just to more and more about this organization and what they do. Yeah, Carly, I think that they're spending a lot of time with her, and as time goes on, we're going to see more about it. But I don't necessarily agree with the fact that that this stuff is being overdone. It's gonna continue for quite a while. I mean, I think they built the whole phase 4 based on this.
That's a Brian Michael Bendis staple.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll try my best.
No, it used to be comics, and they used to have a very clear understanding of this. This is one large sandbox. Everybody's got to get a turn in the sandbox. That means after you've done whatever you've done, this thing has to be operable for other people to come in and be able to tell their stories. Hence why you would have stuff like, okay, we're going to reset this so we can get back to status quo and we can have a new series of adventures. But these characters need to be a status quo so we know they're operating at an optimum. Bendis came in and he was about this nonsense. No, we need to have long-lasting repercussions to anything goes on. So you'd have a storyline that was like 5 or 6 years long, based on some, we exposed Daredevil's secret identity in 10 years. It's 10 years of stories based on that. It's mindless at the end of the day. The blip is kind of an extension of that type of storytelling. We're like, okay, well, this has to have long-lasting repercussions. No, it doesn't. You know why? Because time still moves on. So all of these people talking about what happened and this, that, and the other. So no, because time has moved on from that point. Okay, so you can't get back those 5 years. Then on top of those 5 years, you've got 2 or 3 years that are still marching ahead. So eventually this whole blip thing becomes meaningless because enough time has passed that you can't discuss it any longer. It's like us bringing up, well, remember when the British came and burned down the White House? It's like, yeah, in 1812. It's not conversant. It's history at that point. And we don't live in history. We live in the present. So they dropped the ball on that. I was talking with Petey, before we did the show. It's like, look, this is one of the things that you have in writing, and it's like, do the easy thing. Do the easy thing. Allow yourself to get out of this. You did this right over here. The simplest thing to do is just like, okay, let's just do a hard reset with this, and we can just move forward with it. They're like, no. We can play around with it. We can play around with the blip. Well, eventually you're going to get yourself in a hole. They've dug a nice one for themselves at this point. It's not one they can't jump out of yet, but once you get to 6 feet,
Well,
it's not just a hole.
well, when that keeping that all that in mind, because I would always liken it to someone before him being Alan Moore, but Alan Moore didn't really do that many long runs, but they liked the idea. When I always say, most of the time with characters, they break the characters and put them back, and Alan Moore would like to break them and keep them broken. But when in the '80s, Alan Moore didn't do that many long runs. So when you have with the Killing Joke, it's one sort of story. People decided, you know what, wouldn't it be cool if that was real, like that really happened, and this effect bleeds into the comic, and Barbara Gordon is hurt. Then, throughout life, we always can draw back on it. And they got a lot of stories, and a lot of people liked it, and a lot of people fell out of love, including Alan Moore, with that aspect of it. But in my mind, there's an aspect to this place to the blip itself is as an effect of Tony Stark wanting to keep his daughter. Now, most storylines, like some of the timelines, like the Days of Future Past, the heroes have lived this terrible life, and they lived and they've had this, and they decide we want to cancel our future and go back to that time where everything went wrong. If we fix it at that, we'll be canceled, but we'll be back in a clean timeline. And this thing of Tony wanting to keep his daughter, and that's the thing he would not accept the other. We have to deal with this blip thing, this sort of mistake that he has, because he was like, he wanted that piece of him. And we as fans are like, yeah, we like the idea of him having a daughter, but that sort of thing of now deal with all these stories. Now, I'm just saying, to some extent, we had to not do a blip story. We need to get out of it. We had Spider-Man. We had a little bit in WandaVision, and they did it to nice effect in WandaVision, because that was very serious instead of the jokey style in Spider-Man. This point, get into a political thing, but I mean, it's a story. It's a story. I just hope, I'm saying, moving forward, they need to get away from the Death Star. They need to do something outside of the Death Star. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just thinking it's going to inform a lot of the other movies going forward, such as the WandaVision movie. I'm trying to say it's going to be, because that takes place between
You're talking about Black Widow. You said WandaVision. You're talking about Black Widow.
Black Widow, between Infinity War. It takes place between Infinity War and Endgame, right? Because she's alive. She dies in Endgame, so she's no longer there. So whatever's happening to the world then, I saw some brief synopsis over the internet saying that they bringing the family back, and we need to take a look at the video also, the latest trailer. But a synopsis: the Taskmaster is developing the Red Room, and that's why they're getting together. The essence of the movie. I'm not sure. We'll take a look at the trailer later. But because of the whole blip, half the people going, and the end of the Soviet Union, stuff like that. So we need to take a look and see how that also helps to inform. It's going to be the big thing. This is the whole Phase 4, unless Feige comes up and says, you know what, Phase 4 was a wash. We're doing Phase 5. Everything resets. I don't know, But then that's the whole reason they're bringing in the mutants, right? And this goes along, and this is a good segue over into Madripoor, where Madripoor basically is an X-Men, a New Mutant location initially, right? With mutants in it.
It only has, at one point, only had 2 mutants, which would be Wolverine and Karma, right? And then
Wolverine, Karma, and Patch.
That's it. That's you, man. But the thing is, they made it into this sort of this thing of all these transplants. It's not like Madripoor was like an Asian community, and now it's just sort of a party town that, like the Black Panther went through the other thing. It's just, we don't know what the nationality is in this town. Like, why would they do this? But these guys look cool in this town, and they always party and always got a lot of guns. So, but they captured the bridge. I think, as far as the visual, that widescreen visual of the bridge going to Madripoor, they did capture that. I got to give them credit for at least trying to do a little bit of what we saw in the comic books.
And it's pretty interesting too. In they had a run of Punisher last year. I think it's 2019. And they had Zemo as a leader of Madripoor, and they had the Punisher being taken there in chains to be, you know, his prisoner basically, and they do a whole breakout situation. But yeah, it's just interesting, and I'm wondering, I don't know, we'll probably see more of Madripoor. So it's a place that I guess the Feige and them can play with. It's a sandbox that there's not a lot of stuff in right now, and they can make it to look and be exactly whatever they want it to be.
But we don't have Tiger Tiger. We don't have Blood Scream, or originally Bloodsport after the DC Bloodsport, and we don't have Rough House. We don't have the Prince. We don't have that official, the bad guy official, and we don't have the regular American characters that somehow got transplanted in there with the Lindsay McCabe and I forget the guy who's with them, and there's also a black dude in there too. All of the classic Madripoor guys. Or Cyber, wasn't Cyber? The Tiger's in the story with the Cyber, the Wolverine, the guy with the adamantium skin. Are we gonna see any of those people? We ain't seen none of them.
No, and you're not going to.
And what about Magneto? Magneto lived there, right? Magneto and
No, I don't think he was.
No, that was Genosha.
Yeah, that's that.
No.
But we got any more? We gotta wrap this one up. This is our
right, so hold on.
whatever.
Now going on to the thing we were holding up at last. Io. Io comes in the very end and she talks to the lone wolf. All right.
What do you want
What's
me to say?
your take on
She's a babe. She's a total babe. And that's what we've been waiting for forever. A whole movie of her. That's it.
Everybody, well, no, well, not necessarily myself, but a lot of guys have been waiting for her ever since she walked on screen
Yes.
with that sideways shot
Yes.
and told the Black Widow to move. And I don't think they were really focusing on the dialogue.
She's a very good actress, very strong, little words, and she really came off on screen very well. So
That's right.
we finally got her, and we need more, possibly a solo TV show. World
Her
of
wearing the hell
Wakanda,
out of that dress.
the World of Wakanda, but we have her because we can't get the other stars because they're too big. You know, they're all movie stars, so they could do another one with these little known wives of T'Challa and that sort of thing, and her as the lead. Okay, sorry, I went on a rant. Back to the
No, keep going.
Well, you know what? And then this thing would be nice.
Okay.
What about you? What about you, Mars? What do you think about this?
I think it's good. It adds more texture to the overall series. That, you know, there's going to be consequences on Zemo. Zemo needs to suffer the consequences for killing the Black Panther's father, T'Chaka, and they haven't forgotten. You know, he escaped, and they know that somehow Bucky and them were aiding him or may have helped him. I mean, I guess it isn't hard. They were in Germany, then all of a sudden they're in Madripoor with him, and next thing you know, they're back in Sokovia no longer exists, or what is it, Riga in Lithuania or something, or Latvia. So I guess it was pretty easy for them to track what's going on. But I like the fact that she put the coil beads on the ground, and he realized, like, yo, there's something up here. Remember at the very end?
Yep.
Breadcrumbs that lead to them. So I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, it gives that connection that, you know, it's all an interconnected world. The fact that DC is unable to do something like that, people want to see an interconnected world. That's why the Easter eggs for these shows are very, very huge, because people want to look and find out more about what's going on and how things are going on and how these shows are related and how they can relate to future shows. And you as a retailer, I wouldn't say retailer, but a seller of comics, this must be pretty good for you, Cal, you know, where you get for all these guys coming in from Isaiah Washington, you know, showing up in the last one, you know, Baron Zemo. I don't know if that'll do anything for your stuff, his first appearance. And, you know, I mean,
Well, I'm going to be like HBO Max and not really reveal all the numbers. But suffice to say, yes, the interest has been very good, and I've appreciated the interest, and I hope that interest continues for a very, very long time. What I would like to see, I'm less interested in seeing. I like the Wakanda aspect coming in, because again, this is less of a Wakanda thing and more of a T'Challa thing for me. And T'Chaka was killed. T'Challa knows this guy is locked up, and I'm pretty certain he would give them the order. You watch this dude, okay? And if I want to be alerted if anything, if this guy even step so much as a fingernail's width outside of that prison, I want to know, put somebody on it. Okay. So then she shows up. I want to hear, okay, so hey, how's T'Challa doing? Because that is still something I need to have resolved. I need to know that we're going to have T'Challa in the future. I need to know that role is going to be recast and not be given off to somebody else because they're going to do phase 6 or what have you.
So that means, going back to your, as a seller, do you have, was it Helmut Zemo as, was he the Phoenix? Was that the character he played when he first appeared in the Captain America?
Yeah, Captain America 168, and he's the Phoenix.
The hell that no one likes to say Helmut Zemo.
Baron Helmut Zemo. I can't remember the original Zemo though. I don't remember what his name is.
I just looked up the Heinrich Zemo. That's
Heinrich.
cool. Helmet. How would he give his son Helmet? I guess
in German rather, it's cool.
A whole bunch of them all starting with H, Adrian, and continuing on.
First appearance, I mean, that's not even really him. That's the Phoenix. And then we don't see him again until issue 275. And then, okay, he's Zemo at that point. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, the first time you met me, I was the Phoenix. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What? It's like, yeah, remember almost 100 issues ago? That was me. I was the Phoenix, so on and so forth. But that issue was a bigger issue because that was the reveal that the Falcon was actually was this guy who was like a Red Skull plant at the end of the day. And which they never picked up. They didn't pick that up in the, that was such a dynamic storyline because the Falcon comes in like issue 117. And he's such a part that was Terra before they did the whole Teen Titans thing. Okay, but it was in the same thing that the Falcon had the mitigating circumstances of the Red Skull. The only difference was the Falcon was this guy who was pretty much, had turned away from the stuff that he was normally doing. And the Red Skull, using the Cosmic Cube, which would be the Tesseract in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, restores him to like the best possible qualities of himself. Then we get to 168 and he's like, oh yeah, see that guy over there, your partner? Yeah, I put him there. And he's like, no, there must be something else. And he's like, no, all this stuff right over here is true. And then you're left with it to go forward. So those type of storylines they have been doing. It's funny that comes up because that's what we were discussing earlier. But those type of storylines where you have this person, they've done all of this stuff, and now how do you move forward? How do you move forward with this cat? With the Falcon, it's easy. With the Winter Soldier, because you have Cap advocating for him, it's easy as well. Then you get with these other guys when it's like Baron Zemo, then you're like, well, wait a minute, are we gonna lock this guy up? No, hey, look at him, he's so good on screen. He's so personable. We gotta just let him beat up the bad guys. He's okay. Oh, sounds like a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, I mean, one last thing. Winter Soldier, bro. How do you feel that? I've been hearing a lot of chats about whether or not the Winter Soldier really is. He's still. Sorry, Bucky's still the Winter Soldier in there, or whether or not he was just acting, pretending to be Zemo's henchman. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Petey.
I don't know. I think it would just be sort of a fun thing to kind of have him lose control again and have one thing, we just for effect. But at this point, they're not going to keep doing this thing because they've already had him be the worst thing possible, killing, Tony Stark's parents. So you can't get any worse than that. So I think they would do it. It'd just be for effect or maybe a climactic thing. Otherwise, then you have to start all over and say this guy. There'd be no coming back from it. So they might have a moment where nobody else sees it, but it's something that he's able to fight against, and make the psychologist aspect, something that helped him. So when they call back on this stuff, he fights it and he now knows he doesn't have to fall for it. But just probably for a climax, that's the only thing I could see. I wouldn't want that to be another Death Star syndrome also, to just keep having him. Another word, KB Toy Store. It's like violence, left, right. Oh no, it triggered him again. Like the cheat codes to the Winter Soldier.
So
that would actually be cool if I thought the therapy he was getting would even help a little bit towards him fighting that off. All I can see him is over there. They were talking about the whole queer baiting, him sitting over there with those queer baiting things and saying, oh man, I'm getting taken over. Quick, Sam, sit down with me, put your legs between mine, and let's stare at each other. I don't think that's going to help.
No, that's the thing. I don't care how much, and they keep trying to sell us on Sam Wilson being the quintessential American soldier. He'd be like, get the out of here. I'm out of this thing. Like I'm not even your patient. I'm not sitting leg to leg with this guy. Then what is your problem with you have it? Yes, I got some anger to it. You guys want to say something to that? I'm out. F you and F you.
You guys are childish. I'm childish. That's all I got. Listen, is there anything else to say?
We're childish?
Anything else? Yes, childish.
You want to talk about childish? You want to talk about who was in the Bronx this weekend? We're childish? Watch it.
So I think that's the end of this. We obviously had a lot to say about this. This has been, a very, very not even debated, just basic, commentary on the thing, right, Mars? Can we help me close this out?
I think a lot.
Huh?
There's been a lot of debate on things.
Not that
there's been a debate. Once again, you guys. But yeah, definitely, this was a very interesting episode that we needed to bring up a lot of information. So, gentlemen, there's no further ado. Spinner rack
out.